Welcome back to another episode on this 1966 C10 frame swap. So in this episode we do a little bit of troubleshooting, fix a couple things that we've been figuring out as we've been driving this around. We add a toolbox to the back of the bed, we do an engine flush and oil change, and just work through a couple problems as we try to make this the best truck that we can. So enjoy this episode. Thanks guys. This headlight must have popped out. The spring probably popped out, so I have to look at that. Yeah. So the spring slipped off, and once that happens, it just kind of falls down. Might have to take off this to get it back in. I think the problem is it's got rusted out a little bit there. Okay, it's back on. No, it's not. Guess I'll see if that holds. Need to adjust these headlights also. Okay, it's in there for now. I'm gonna shut the garage. I'm gonna turn the lights on and see if I can kind of adjust these correctly so they're not kind of aimed straight at the ground. I feel like that's aimed pretty low and not very bright at all, so see if I can bring it up a little bit. I guess we'll see how that works. Definitely raise them up a little bit. Okay, they're back in, they're adjusted. If it comes out again, I think I'm gonna have to get a new inner support thing there because the other one has a little bit of rust on it. See if that holds up. So since we plan on taking this on some trips and whatnot, I would really like to get some kind of toolbox up there. I want something that looks kind of vintage and whatnot, so I think I found something that will fit in here really nicely, and it's actually in the house that we are using as decoration. So I told my wife I'm going to repossess this decoration for the truck. So we have this large ammo box here, and I will be using this as a toolbox on the truck. So I'm going to take this out, clean it up, wash it, clear coat it, and bolt it down to the back of the bed. Oh, geez. Whoa, almost tripped. So this is the unit. I'm putting this in the back of the truck. It's a pretty large ammo box. Bought it a long time ago. We've been using it as decoration inside the house for years now. I don't really know what it used to hold. Maybe I can find some information about it here. That says it is a relief valve. Interesting. This is 16 units. Cushion, upper, lower. I don't know what this held. If anyone knows in the comments, that'd be pretty cool, pretty interesting to know. But it seems like it had some desiccants in there, 16 units desiccants, cushions, upper and lower plate identification. Weighed 62 pounds loaded, unloaded 41 pounds. So whatever is in here is only 20 pounds. So I don't think it was any kind of ammunition or grenades or anything like that. I think it was, I mean, it says right there, some sort of cushion. Anyway, I'm gonna clean this up with some of that SOS pads, then we're gonna clear coat it, and then we're gonna bolt it down into the bed, and we're gonna use this as a toolbox or storage container, whatever. Go ahead and clean it up now. All right, just gonna clean this up. Now I'm just going to snip those two zip ties off there, put it in the sun, and it'll dry in like 4 seconds, and then we'll hang it up, clear coat it, and bolt it down. I'm going to try this gloss spray out today. Have you all seen this before? It has like a bunch of different tips on it. Basically you spin that and it has like different spray patterns. gonna try this out, see how it works. So this is number 1 spray pattern. I think that's the biggest fan, probably. Doesn't seem very big. 2. Oh, that looks a little bit wider there. I think 4 had the widest pattern. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, that's 1 can, 1 coat basically down. Probably come back in like 15 minutes, do a second can. Coat 2. So it's now the next day. This clear coat has dried, so I'm going to drill holes in each of these little feet here so I can screw it down into the wood bed. Okay, I got the box in here and centered, so I'm just going to screw it down now. Okay, that is secured down. I'm gonna put the lid on. Had to leave some space in the back because the way these latches fold up. Gotta have a little bit of space there. Okay, that's not going anywhere, and that should provide a waterproof case there too. I think that'll work out as a pretty nice toolbox that kind of fits the style we're going for here. Well, we got the Mercedes detailed yesterday, so I promised my wife that when the truck was able to move out of the garage and her car was detailed, I would get it back in here. But today I'm going to do a little bit of work on the truck, so I'm going to move the Tesla out so I can move the truck back in here and do some work on it. Going to try to swap over the fuel gauge, change the oil, maybe do a couple other little things. So here's where we're going to be storing the truck for now. This is where the Mercedes was stored for the past 8 months or so. But realistically, the paint on the Mercedes is, well, it has paint. So it's better off being stored in the garage. Also, we can leave the top down when it's in the garage. We don't have to take it up and down all the time. And cats like laying on the soft top of the Mercedes. They're not going to really have anywhere to lay on the truck. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out and then back it into the garage. Do a little bit of work on it today. Well, this is a pretty cool sight. We've got our 66 C10 in here alongside our 85 Mercedes. So I don't know what's going on with this fuel gauge, but it is not reading correctly. It has probably 3/4 of a tank in it right now, and it's just all over the place, so it's just not working properly. So we're going to swap it out for a different gauge, and hopefully that one works a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to start by making a little harness for the gauge here. Go ahead and cut this out here. I'm just going to use one thing from our kit here, little 4 guy here. Okay, we got a little harness made up now. Go ahead and do the other side inside the truck, and then we'll put in this gauge here. Hopefully that works. Here's the 2 gauges side by side. Now, I originally bought this because I thought that Bosch was a good company. It is made in China. So, since that Chinese gauge didn't work, I went ahead and bought another Chinese gauge. So let's go ahead and follow the directions on this new gauge. Before installation, firstly, to open a hole. Well, luckily we have opened a hole with this original gauge, so we can move on to step B. Twist off the cover, then put the gauge in hole. We'll do that in a second. Then we mount the gouage in hole, twist the back cover on after adjustment. And then luckily we have a little diagram here. Red 12 volt, black signal input, orange black light. Hopefully not a black light. And then of course you use blue for ground, because why wouldn't you? I'm gonna go ahead and get this part of the harness wired up into the truck, and then we will put this one in and see if it works. The main reason why I bought this one is because you can switch the ohms, so it can either be a 0 to 180 ohm, or it could be a 10 to 180, or it could be that 240 to 30, which I thought that this one was. We're just gonna put it in there and hopefully it works out, and hopefully all the ohms works out correctly. So I got the other part of that harness wired up in the truck. This is the part that goes into the gauge. Okay, so I got the new gauge in here, and when I turn it on, it goes to about 3/4 of a tank, which is what I thought was in there, so it looks like it's accurate right now. The only question I have about it is that on this form here, it says the default is 0 to 190 ohms, and anything newer than 98 should have the closer to that 240 to 33 ohms. It looks like it's reading accurately right now. So either this one wasn't set on the right ohms, or I don't know. I want to go fill it up and just see if it works properly as is. I mean, I won't really have to mess with it. But right now it seems to be working properly. So it reads just under a quarter tank if I put it on the ohm setting that I think it should be on. So I really just need to go fill this up and see what reads full, I guess. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the other one, the original, like 0 to 190 ohms. So the next thing I'd like to address is a exhaust leak, another one coming from back there. Because if you recall, do not have a bolt back there on the very back. So we were missing that bolt there, and you can kind of see the soot around where it's not making a good seal. So we need to do something about that. I found this thing on Amazon, which goes onto the back of the head like this, and then you can tighten this bolt down like that, and it will basically act as another bolt for the back of the head there. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to put that on, tighten that down. You can see a little gap there, so hopefully we can close that gap up. Okay, hopefully my hand doesn't block this too much. Honestly, I'm not even gonna be able to see that good where these holes are. You can probably see better than I can, honestly. Really cannot see where this one is at all. Oh, I think I got it. Okay, it's tightened onto the back of the head. Now I just have to tighten this bolt down here, which will push onto that manifold, and hopefully it will solve our exhaust leak. The only problem with this is with these headers, I can't really fit anything on here to tighten this bolt down. So I have that pushing down on the header there. I wiped off most of the soot, so I guess we'll see by listening and seeing if there's any more soot build up there, if this actually worked or not. So you probably heard me framming and bamming around looking for a wrench, because I needed a short 16 millimeter. And I know this looks ridiculous because this is just all the crap that I've acquired over the years, or people have given to me that wasn't part of a set. I have all my sets of everything up here, but I only have a long 16 up here. So I was looking through this for like a couple minutes trying to find a short 16, and I found almost an entire set of short stuff, but guess what we're missing here? A 16, 18, 17, 15, 14, 13, 12, and a 10. So maybe we're missing 11 and 16. But of course, I can't find that and all this junk. So I'm really gonna have to organize this somehow, some way eventually. So I think the last thing I want to do today is do this engine flush. You pour this in the engine, let it idle for 10 minutes, then drain the oil. Then we're gonna put some fresh oil in there, new filter. I think that should be pretty much good. Oh, also a new drain plug because the one on there is leaking a little bit. So we're gonna do that next. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this entire bottle straight into the valve cover here. Now we are going to start this up and let it run for 10 minutes. Turn it off, drain the oil, change the filter, put new oil in, and it should be good for a long time after that. Sometimes it doesn't like starting back to back, so let's see if it does it this time. If not, hopefully you guys can help me out with some ideas on that. So it's gonna prime up again. Oh, started right up that time, so let's go ahead and see. I'm gonna start a timer for 10 minutes and drain the oil. Okay, the 10 minutes is up. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off and drain the oil. It sounded really good right now. What it sounds like back here. All right, cutting it off now. And now that that oil is hotter than the Everglades in August, I'm gonna go ahead and jack it up, crawl under there, and hopefully not get any on my hands. So you can see a couple little drips coming from that drain plug. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap that out also. All right, gonna crack this drain plug now. Oh, it was loose. Huh. Maybe that's why it was leaking a little bit. Just gonna let that drip for a little bit, and then I'll put in the new drain bolt, and then from there I'm gonna change the filter. And I actually don't have the oil yet. Amazon's supposed to be delivering that, so I'm gonna wait for that to come in. All right, putting in the new plug now. Now I just gotta swap the filter. Okay, I got the new oil filter in there. I went with a Wix and also wrote the date on it, just so that'll help us remind us in the future when this was last changed, since we don't have an odometer. I'm gonna set the truck back down now that the oil is drained. Got the new filter and new plug in there. We just have to wait for Amazon to deliver our oil, and remember to not start the truck until then, because right now there is literally no oil in the truck. Here's what the oil looks like that came out of the truck. This was brand new oil when I did all that stuff, and it was only ran for maybe 100 miles. So I think that that engine flush really did get a lot of stuff out, and hopefully it'll run even smoother now. Okay, my oil finally came in from Amazon. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill the truck up. I put it in this little container so it's easier to pour in. I'll go ahead and do that now. Fuck. Just made such a mess. Thought I was holding it high enough. Can't believe I did that. Can't believe I did that. Anyway. The oil change is now complete. Going to start it up, look for some leaks, and then park it back under the tent. That smoke is just from that oil I spilled on the headers and stuff. All right, gonna go park it up. So the next thing I'm going to fix is these angle vents down here. Now when I finished up the truck, I didn't think that these would be that big of a deal because I just figured, hey, we'll deal with that stuff later. But it has become very apparent that tons of dirt flies through these holes down here. That's why I have this little rag stuffed in here, because this dirt was just flying in like crazy, getting everywhere. So I bit the bullet and bought those. They weren't cheap. It's about 250 bucks for the set. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those in, and that should fix that problem at least. Here's what the new ones look like. And I still have the old screws. Use those with that. I don't have the gasket for this, so I think I'm just gonna use some RTV and we'll go from there. Okay, I decided not to put RTV on here just because it's going to cause too much of a mess. I tried on the other side. It was just too much. So I'm just going to try to do it without any gasket right now. If it's really bad, then I'll order the other gasket for it. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and put these things on. These are kind of a tight fit. Over there, I kind of had to put the bottom in first. This one, the fuse box is kind of in the way. Okay, let me see if I can get it in like this. Why'd they have to make that tolerance so tight? It's ridiculous. Why is this so angled here? Okay, that's good enough. So that's how they sit in there. They look all right. I'm not super happy with the quality of these, but at least it's something that blocks all that dirt from coming in. So that'll do for now. It's so hot out here. Like a high of like 98 today. So today I just want to put these little skid plate things back on under the truck, and then I want to take it to the gas station and fill it all the way up with gas to make sure our gauge is working correctly. So I'm going to start by jacking up the truck. Okay, I think that both of these little panels under here connected to stuff that was on the 4x4, like the front diff support and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think we can use either of these. I don't think it's a huge deal, but kind of wanted those on there. Oh well. Okay, I'm going to head to the gas station and just fill this up so we can make sure that we have this fuel gauge operating correctly. Tightened up that clamp and it doesn't look like it's leaking anymore, so that's a good sign. Okay, so it's filled all the way up now. So let's see what happens when we turn the ignition on here. It's reading a full tank. I guess this is the right setting then. If I change it to any other ones. That reads full also. Well, it looks like they're all going to read full right now, so I don't know how to figure this out. We'll mess with this more later, I guess. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We were able to fix a couple problems on here and just driving around trying to enjoy it and figure out what we need to do next. So I know this was kind of a short episode, but the next episode is going to be all about air conditioning. So I think I've acquired all the parts I need to try and make it work at least. So that's what we're going to get into on the next episode, is all the air conditioning stuff, from the condenser to the compressor to the underdash unit, all the lines, all the wiring, and that's really needed, especially in the dead of summer here in Florida. It's almost intolerable to drive this truck right now. So that's what we're going to do in the next episode. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.